Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting me to this important event. And as the organizer said, this is an issue of great importance to us in Norway. At this time in Norway, and for those who get the reference, we will say winter is coming. But in Greece, I guess you would say wind is coming. And I think that tells you everything about the pertinence of the question. As we have seen, the price has fallen radically on wind energy, or various types of wind energy, and there's also been a strong technological development. Technology which we saw as impossible or unfeasible a few years ago is now coming increasingly feasible and increasingly affordable. Bold steps has been taken in Greece, and I think further steps needs to be taken. Ladies and gentlemen, I will make two brief points because I know there are a lot of important speakers coming after me. One is about technology and the other is about Greece. I think for the technology side, I'll concentrate on floating offshore wind. That is what we're peddling, so to speak. The next wave in wind technology is offshore floating wind. That's our opinion, and that's our firm opinion. And this Friday, something remarkable happened in Norway. And that is a sentence you don't hear every day, is it? Something remarkable happened in Norway. I'll tell you. And a consortium of energy companies did a final investment decision on 88 megawatts of floating offshore wind. It's called the Tampen High Wind Project, and it's far out in the North Sea, northern part of the North Sea. It's about a 500 million euro project. And strangely enough, this project is built solely for the purpose of powering oil platforms. This sounds like a strange idea, but the Norwegian carbon taxing policy has made it sensible for companies to invest in this way to power offshore platforms with offshore floating wind energy. This will really, the gain in terms of carbon taxes will be about 200,000 tonnes annually of CO2. So why are we doing this in Norway? Well, of course, the first thing is because this is what we do. This is what we can. We can build floating offshore structures. We have done it for the last 50 years. We will continue to do it. And suddenly we see that these structures suddenly has a huge potential, not for petroleum energy anymore, but for floating wind energy. And the prices are coming down. The first demo facility was built in 2009. And from the first demo in 2009 to the first big facility in Scotland called Scotland High Wind, the price fell by 60 to 70%. For this project we're talking about now, the High Wind Tampen, the price is coming down additionally 40 to 50%. And the industry predicts that by 2025-26, this will be a fully commercialized business, floating offshore power. This was an engineer's dream 20 years ago. Now it's becoming reality. Suddenly you see huge floating windmills producing power which can compete with whatever we build onshore. So, why are we doing this in Norway? Of course, we're not doing it to be nice and just all the general good of our heart, but it's money in it. It's that simple. And for the first mover, we will reap the benefits. So, and this is something which all of you from the industry knows very well. If you're the first mover, you develop the technology, you will also have the benefits to exploit the technology and to reduce the costs first. From the Norwegian government side, we have been funding it, not out of the good of our heart, not because we want to subsidize the industry, but because we believe in the technology, we believe in the future of this technology, and it is an investment from our side for the benefit of future generations. Second point I want to make is Greece. Norwegian companies have identified Greece as having Europe's best potential for floating offshore wind. Of course, these are related to of course, the obvious point that Greece has the two main things for floating offshore wind, namely wind and sea space. It's that simple. So now, how to use it? There are four major ingredients which sort of separates the fact of having it from the fact of using it. And I think the previous speaker made a very, very good point on regulations that I fully subscribe to, and it's one of my points. But first and foremost, of course, to have the resource itself. Second, it's to have the available infrastructure for building offshore structures. Basically, these are huge structures, 200-meter high windmills that are to be submerged in the sea. Not everybody can build this. But Greece is a seafaring nation. We have built ships twice the size, 3 times the size, for decades. So why not build floating offshore structures instead? It's the same technology, it's the same yards, it's the same yards building it. So you have the capacity. Third is exactly as my colleague pointed out, it's the political will. The political will to have the regulations in place, to have a level playing field, to have a fair market where renewable energy gets its fair share and not being sort of pushed to the side by old interests. The fourth ingredient is the industrial actors, those who are going to invest in it. They're ready, they're here, but they're waiting for the regulations. That's what we're waiting for. So the question is, do we have the political will in Greece to step up to the mark and say this is something we want to develop? Well, the good news is that by building offshore wind, floating wind energy, there's a huge ripple effect in the economy in terms of jobs in the yards, for deployment, for the whole ripple effect around the investment. So this is a good thing for a country coming out of recessions. It means jobs, and it means investment, and it means economy of scale. And to come back to the regulatory side, I think the first step would be to develop a test field, and it needs to be large, because for every large field we build, the price of the energy is coming down by 40 to 50%. So we need something big. We need at least 250 to 300 megawatts, I would say, as a sort of a test field. And of course, everybody hears a test field about 250 megawatts and says this is of course not a test field. It's a huge test field, and it's going to be commercial. So, but let's call it a test field for the sake of argument. Our estimate is that Greece will be able to build at least 1 to 2 gigawatts of floating offshore power by 2030 if we start now. If we wait, another country will come and pick up the leadership in the Mediterranean on floating offshore wind, and I see no reason why that should be the case. Norway stands ready to contribute. We have companies ready to work with Greece. I have 2 companies coming down this week. We have the experience on regulations needed. We can, not only Norway, but other countries have the regulations needed. We don't have to invent the wheel again. Regulations are there. We know how it works. We can employ it, but it needs political will. We have already in place a grant scheme through the Norwegian EEA grant, which is a grant scheme from companies willing to go green in Greece, which we are already investing quite substantial amounts of money. So in short, we are ready to be Greece's partner on offshore floating wind. We're here, we're open for business, we're waiting for the go-ahead from the Greek government. And so far it looks very good. So let's adapt to the term, wind is coming. Thank you.